most demanding sport I play.
It's a very fast, exciting game.
It really is a real individual challenge.
A lot of people think, it's just hitting a ball against the wall. It's not.
It really does push you to the limits. If you want to be pushed.
Balance, speed, fitness.
Keeps you fit, very fit.
Yeah, it gives you a tremendous buzz to do really well.
Oh, you definitely get a buzz. It's the best buzz.
You've got to go for it. You've got only yourself to blame or to thank at the end of the day that you made that shot.
At any level, really. So it's really suited for everyone.
Hi there. Welcome to the game of fives. A sport where you don't need expensive gear, flash equipment, or 21 other people to play. Because all you need are these, your hands, and some leather gloves for padding and protection. And that's about it. Anyone can play, and in the old days, they played almost anywhere. Fives was first played not on a smart modern court like this, but probably as an improvised game up against a wall in an 18th century Georgian town. Even in those days, the hard floors of prisons and churchyards made it possible for all walks of life to have a go. The first records of the game being played in an organised sense took place on courts built next to several coffee houses. From there, it's believed, small bets were placed on the outcome of a match. Since then, the game has gradually become standardised. Through the years, there have been many great champions that have graced the fives court, but possibly the greatest player in the history of the modern game is Wayne Enstone. Well done, Wayne. Fantastic effort. Now, what we want to know is, how'd you do it?
By winning.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but what we were hoping for were a few tips for the beginners just starting out.
You want me to give away all my secrets?
Well, yeah.
Go on then.
Right, Wayne, what's the first thing you should do?
Well, Jack, the first thing you should do is hit the ball gently up against the wall with your stronger hand, remembering to keep your hand cupped to prevent bruising. Try, for greater accuracy, to hit the ball at the base of the first two fingers. It's important to watch the ball all the time as the ball hits the front wall and comes back onto your gloves. Something that may help you with this is to say bounce, bounce, hit, bounce, bounce, hit. And then you're watching that ball all the time. Now it's your turn.
Well, I'm a bit rusty.
Now relax, don't worry.
Bounce, bounce.
Keep watching the ball onto your hand. That's excellent. Now when you feel more comfortable, try using both hands. Because fives is a two-handed game. If you're having a problem with your weaker hand, it's not the end of the world. Just practice a bit more with that hand. Well done.
Right, Wayne, is there anything now that can help me hit the ball a bit better?
Yes, there is. If we can get the main body parts in a good position, then we can actually produce more speed, power and accuracy with the shot.
Right. Take me through it.
Right, if you'd like to just mirror me, then we get our body sideways on to the shot, shoulders onto the side wall, as I am. That's excellent, very good. Now what we want to do now is have the weight coming forward over that front leg, feet apart, excellent. Before the ball comes to you, have this arm well back and the wrist cocked in that position. That's excellent. Right, and if we just follow through now at the end of the shot, when we make contact with the ball, we flick that wrist, like when you're skimming a stone across the water.
Right.
That's excellent. flick the wrist, the last point of contact. That's
I
excellent.
think I've got the hang of that. Shall we try that for real?
Certainly. Arm back, flick the wrist, good. Arm back, flick the wrist. That's good. Sideways on, good. Now don't worry about that. That's a mistake a lot of people make when they're first learning the game. What we've got to do is not go into the ball, we've got to wait until it comes to us. So in other words, we're anticipating where the ball's going. And in order to help us, if we just keep our feet moving slightly, and let's just have a try. I'll throw the ball to you. That's good, good, anticipated very well there. There was a tendency to want to go, you stopped yourself, you kept moving, and then you played a good shot. Right, now, in order to play a better shot, because your opponent, you want to try and move away from the middle of the court, let's try and put the ball down the sidewall. Now, a technique that helped me is to actually think about, would you just do this with me? Think about turning a door handle. And when you make contact with the ball, turn your hand. So hopefully that will help you eventually put that ball more consistently down the sidewall. Let's try it. Okay, here we go, Jack. Excellent. And again, turn that hand. Super shot. Turn the hand. That's a world beater. And again, turn that hand. Excellent. Well played, Jack.
Right, Wayne, what about starting a real game of fives?
Right, well, we start the game with a serve, which is a very important part of our game. To serve, throw the ball to hit the front wall, it hits the side wall. When it bounces, we hit the ball back against that side wall. And that is all done in one go, as I'll show you now. So it's front, side, and hit it back against the side wall. The rally begins.
Are there any variations of the serve?
Yes, there are. I'll show you a few now, Jack. Okay, if you'd just like to stand back for me. Right, the first serve I'm going to show you is the drive serve into the back corner of the court, like this. We're trying to get that ball as far back as we can. Now, your opponent thinks that you're going to play a deep serve, so we're now going to play a nice gentle serve, same arm action, same amount of effort, just above the board, and hopefully he won't get to it. And there's the third serve, the lob serve, which helps again push your opponent deep into the back corners of the court. Suggest what you do now is stand quite close to the front wall, and we're aiming well up the front wall in order to get the height that we require, like this.
Right, well, that's enough of that. You stand over here, Wayne. Let me have a go.
Okay.
While I'm doing a poor imitation of Wayne, why don't you have a look at this? The game of fives is played either up to 15 or 11 points. Beginners' games can be up to a lower number if required. If the server loses a rally, then his opponent gains a point and he continues to serve. If the server wins a rally, he puts his opponent into serve and the score remains unchanged. When serving, you may throw the ball up as many times as you like until you're ready to hit it. If a serve hits the front wall first, it is taken again without a penalty.
5-7.
When calling out the score, put the receiver's score first, unlike tennis or squash. A player who hits the ball against the board or below it or completely out of the court loses the rally. If a ball bounces off the floor twice, then the retriever loses the rally.
Like that?
Yeah.
A let is allowed if one player restricts the other's playing movement. The rally is then replayed. In general, those are the rules under which the game is played. Above all, whoever the winner, fives is all about having fun. Many different people enjoy the sport for many different reasons, as we found out.
Once you get in there, I mean, it took me about, I don't know, 2 months to sort of learn, but once I'd learned it, you know, it's really, you learn how to time the ball and your hand toughens up, and yeah, it's great fun.
It might look like it hurts your hands, but you're padded very well, and I must say I was hooked.
Well, it was a bit hard to pick up at first, but it just got easier since then.
I used to try to play netball, but trying to get 14 ladies to all turn up at the same time is very difficult. This way, I can guarantee I'll get a game.
It's a lot more interactive than football, I know that.
I think you use probably more muscles in your body than you would in a long distance running or anything like rugby or football.
It's true. You have to get so much closer to the ball because, say, in squash, you've got an extra 2 feet because of the racket.
Well, I mean, a squash racket, I don't know how much a squash racket costs, maybe 60 or 70 quid for a good one. A pair of fives gloves is, I don't know, mine cost £10.
Gloves are gloves. It's down to you, really.
You've got to be really fit, like stamina, short distance running, short sprints. Got to be really fit.
Even if you're playing a dolly game, it knackers you out completely.
Well, my legs are a bit like lead, actually. So, I mean, it's, after you've done a cross-country run, it's a similar feeling, because that's sort of how tired you are if you've had a really close game.
Exhausted. Knackered.
There's a lot of strategy in it. Like, a lot of the points you play, you take a while to set up, and you play it down one side or something, and then suddenly you change it. So there is a lot of brain work to it, as well as just whacking a ball about.
Fives isn't just about hitting the ball against the wall as hard as you possibly can. A lot of it's got to do with the old grey matter, your brain cells. Every time you approach the ball, inside your head, you should be making split-second judgments on the nature of your shot.
Often the most important factor to consider when playing a shot is the position of both yourself and your opponent. Ultimately, it should be your aim to dominate the mid-court area while forcing your opponent to the sides of the court. It's important that after having played a shot to try and return to a position 2 or 3 feet behind the midpoint of the court. This means you have the best access to all parts of the court for your next shot.
Now, Wayne, can you show us some shots that might put our opponent out of position?
Yes, Jack. A good shot to play is the drive shot, getting your opponent into the back 2 corners of the court. So I'll just demonstrate and show you. Now, ideally, with this particular shot, we want the ball bouncing twice before it actually gets to the back wall. A variation on this is to actually try and play the ball as close to the side wall as we can, like this. And we also want to try and hit the ball as close to the board as we can, so that we get the ball to the back of the court as quickly as we can. Again, like that. Another drive that we can play is the cross-court drive into the opposite corner. Now, this helps disguise our play in that our opponent won't know whether we're going to play down the wall or actually into the far corner, like this. That's super shot. Thanks, Jack. Not all attacking shots have to be driven to the back of the court. What we can also use is the front court to move our opponent. Our shot that enables us to do that is the drop shot. So I'll just show you. Want to try and play the ball over towards the side wall, and if we catch the nick, that's even better for us. Another shot that brings your opponent forward is the check shot. And that's a more disguised version of the drop shot. So if we just move back over here, I'll show you. Your opponent hopefully thinks that you're going to drive the ball to the back of the court, but at the last moment you check with your hand, which puts a backspin on it, and hopefully when it hits the floor from the front wall, it sits up and doesn't loop back. So your opponent hopefully won't get to it. Just like this. Beauty. And the last shot to bring our opponent into the front court, make it more difficult, is the angle shot. Ideally, this shot now hits the side wall first and then hits the front wall after that. Like this. And it keeps nice and close to the front wall.
What about defence? How should you return a good attacking shot?
Well, Jack, if it's a good attacking shot, you won't have a lot of time to get your hand to the ball. So if I could just explain to you now, what you want to do is get your hand to it as quickly as possible. You won't have time to bring your arm back now, which you'd like to be able to do. So we actually go down with the hand, taking the wrist back at the same time and using a lot of wrist action. Really get that wrist into the action. I'll show you off the back wall how much power you can generate just from the wrist alone. Now it helps if you can be more accurate, so try and keep it close to the side wall, or at least have it going over towards the side wall, making it more difficult for your opponent to attack you again. Overall, the key to good defensive play is to keep to a basic game. Whatever the shot, you need to be decisive about it. Changing your mind halfway through can cause errors.
Let me see now, what should I do? Drive it, lob it, or drop it? Or maybe skim or scoop. Whoops. Well, there's a lot to think about, isn't there?
There certainly is. Now don't forget, work at your own pace in your own time and focus on one thing at a time.
Lob, serve, scoop, drive, flick, throw, skim, lob, serve, scoop, drive, flick, throw, skim.
Lob, serve, scoop, drive, flick, throw, skim, throw, drive, flick, scoop, serve, lob, flick, flick, skim, drive, serve, flick,
Whatever you do, don't get bogged down in all the technical stuff like I just did. Everything that you've seen in this video is merely to give you an idea of how the game works and to suggest possible ways you might be able to develop your own game. Probably the most important thing is to allow yourself to have fun. If you don't enjoy it, then you won't have any desire to go on and improve anyway. Singles or doubles, fives can be enjoyed at any level. It's a great social activity and also a fun way to get fit. At the end of the day, there's only one way to find out whether fives is the game for you. The ball's now in your court. So get out there and give it your best shot.